I have always been here.
Greetings, everyone. It is the Ambassador coming at you with a brand new movie review. And today we're going to cover something a little bit different. Something, well, actually, from the season of the witch. Because at the end of this week, we've got Halloween coming up. And I thought it's been a while since I've done some just straight movie reviews. No bells, no whistles, just me talking to you all and everything like back in the day or anything when I first started my channel. And this will be 3 parts mini series I'll be doing. Today we're going to be talking about Sleepy Hollow from 1999. Also going to be talking about Young Frankenstein and talking about The Fog from 1980, the great John Carpenter classic. And with this video, we will be talking about Sleepy Hollow. So, as always, folks, if you like what I'm doing on my channel, make sure you smash that like button, share these videos out with your friends and everybody that might be interested in content like this. And if you aren't subscribed already, if you like this video and you come across it, hit that subscribe button down below. But that all being said, let's get into the review. Now, this movie came out in 1999, and it's a Tim Burton, and except for a few stray misses, Tim Burton has had a very consistent career and everything, film wise. And honestly, Sleepy Hollow was one of my favorites of his and everything, has been for a very, very long time. And he got together a really top notch cast. Obviously, he went back to some of his old staples, some of his actors and actresses that he has worked with in the past. And that is no less true here. And with this film, you've got Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, you've got Christina Ricci as Katrina Van Tassel, you've got Michael Gambon as Baltus Van Tassel, you've got Ian McDermott, you've got Michael Goud, who played Alfred in the Batman movies by Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher. You've got, what was his name? The guy that played Vernon Dursley, Harry Potter's uncle in the Harry Potter franchise. You also had Jeffrey Jones and everything, and Miranda Richardson as Lady Van Tassel. And of course, you've got the least likeliest of horsemen, or headless horsemen in this film, with the great Christopher Walken. And this was a very well put together story. Now, obviously, this is an adaptation of the old Washington Irving short story, Ichabod Crane, and it's simply called Sleepy Hollow. But you have the main two characters with Ichabod Crane, who in the original story was just a school teacher who lived in the small little town of Sleepy Hollow, and his confrontation with the Headless Horseman. But Tim Burton being Tim Burton, there's always a twist, and that's not a bad thing. And the cool thing that Burton did with this, he took the story, he took the bones of it, the framework, and he turned it into a whodunit. And that's I think one of the great aspects of this film. He turned it into a whodunit. Who's controlling the horseman? Who's committing all these murders by controlling the Headless Horseman? And one of the really interesting things is we get a very different take on the character of Ichabod Crane compared to what we've seen in, the old Disney shorts at The Legend of Sleepy Hollow with the Headless Horseman. He has a pumpkin for a head, which they do pay a little bit of homage to in the movie itself and everything, where some of the townsfolk are pranking Ichabod. And honestly, you've got not to mention you have two great stuntsmen and everything portraying the Headless Horseman himself. and one in particular that had done some other work and everything earlier on in 1999, and that is Ray Park, who, for those of you who may not know, or who those of you may know, actually portrayed Darth Maul in Star Wars Episode One. And of course, Master and Apprentice are united in this production because, as I mentioned, Ian McDermott, who plays the doctor, the village doctor, and everything in the town of Sleepy Hollow, um, is in this film. And obviously, as I said, the actor who played Frederick Stevenson, I think was the name of the actor who played Verna Dursley, who played the magistrate of Sleepy Hollow. But of course, Johnny Depp, being the consummate actor he is, he really brought the character of Ichabod to life very, very well, I think. And Burton always puts his twist on things, and as I already mentioned. But one of the really cool things about this film that I really enjoyed was the fact that it was turned into a murder mystery, was turned into a whodunit, but with some supernatural aspects to it. And I thought that was a great move on the part of Burton and everything to go that route. But talking about the production itself, I mean, obviously it's a Tim Burton film, so the production, the design of the world is going to be very, very unique. And the color palette is very muted, which I honestly thought was a very cool touch. At least anything up until the end of the film when they have solved the mystery and everything, and you discover who was controlling the horseman. And this review might have some minor spoilers, so if you don't want anything spoiled, although this movie did come out in 1999, and you don't care about spoilers, then continue on, obviously. But the really neat thing about this film is we get a portrayal of Ichabod Crane as a New York detective. And it's this movie is set in 1799, and Ichabod is kind of, for lack of a better term, I think this term is accurate here or appropriate here. He is progressive. He's very forward thinking in terms of how law enforcement is to be carried out, particularly the field of forensics and crime scene investigation and everything. And he has a he has a bit of a conflict with the head officer, the police chief, and everything at his precinct. And he's brought in before the burgermeister or the judge. And of course, Burton, being Burton, you got Christopher Lee as the judge, or as he's credited in the film, the burgermeister. And again, this is another little touch by Burton and everything, because he's used Christopher Lee in other films of his as well. But there's a shot in particular that I really love early on in the film. Ichabod is standing before the burgermeister and then the police chief, and Ichabod is kind of going on a bit of a very civilized rant. And the burgermeister is like, "This is a song we've heard from you once before." Of course, portrayed beautifully by Christopher Lee, the late great Christopher Lee. But there's a shot, and it's a close up of Lee. But if you look closely and everything in other shots, particularly if it's a one of him to the side, there is a eagle carved out of wood directly behind him. And the way Burton set up this shot, when Christopher Lee's character is pointing at Ichabod, it almost looks like he's got those wings, like the wings of black wings of death or something. Because there are some depictions of death where he does have black wings. The Grim Reaper has black wings, and it's almost like Lee is sending Ichabod off to an early grave. But I honestly thought that was a great shot and everything that Burton set up in this film. And of course, you've got him traveling up into upstate New York to the little town of Sleepy Hollow, this small little village and everything. And you get some establishing shots of the town, and it all is so well crafted and well done. Burton did a great job at the set design, working with the rest of the crew and everything to design the village. And it seems very period appropriate and everything because, as I said, this takes place in 1799. But you have Ichabod being kind of put outside of his element because he's so accustomed to being in a large metropolis city and he's going to this small little town, and he's not out of his depth, but he's definitely out of his element. And as I said before, this movie is a whodunit. It is a murder mystery. But in addition to that, it's also got some supernatural elements. Um, you get some backstory about Ichabod. You have a few flashbacks with him as a very young child and everything, um, and with his mother, who turns out that she was in fact a witch, or what we might call nowadays a Wiccan. And unfortunately, his father was a very staunch, very conservative, very, for lack of a better term, well, I think this is an accurate, appropriate term, tyrannical um, Christian, which in the 1700s and everything was commonplace, unfortunately. Anything that's part of the church history I'm not particularly proud of, but it is what it is, sadly. But you've got Ichabod caught between two worlds, and he has fallen in love with Baltus Van Tassel's daughter, Katrina, played by Christina Ricci. But they have a falling out because all of the evidence is trying to pile up, and it's trying to pile up towards Baltus. And she resents him for this, obviously, because this is her father. This is her entire world. This is her family, and I think would be a normal reaction for anyone who cares deeply about their family. But we get the history of the horsemen and everything. Again, you've got another flashback, and you've got Christopher Walken on horseback, and he even admits everything in an interview. Him being on a horse is not something he's accustomed to. He did it, but he wasn't thrilled about it. But I will say, the prosthetic makeup that they did for him wasn't extensive. He had the filed down teeth. He had the contacts and everything. Gave his eyes this eerie blue appearance, which I won't lie. Those contacts are sick. I wouldn't mind having a pair of them myself. And of course, they kind of spiked and mussed his hair up. They put him in period appropriate garb. He's got this huge broadsword and an axe in either hand, and he's just going at the colonials because the backstory of the horseman takes place during the American Revolutionary War. And sorry, but the great thing about this film is you don't know who the killer is, even though you know who the killer is. We know it's the horseman, but Ichabod eventually figures out somebody's controlling the horseman. Now, who the heck is doing it? And it takes some deductive work on his part. And again, I will say I like this version of Ichabod Crane. Not as the bumbling, goofy, oafish school teacher or whatever he is portrayed as in the anime version of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but as a very sharp, yet he has his foibles, he has his shortcomings, somewhat squeamish New York detective. New York detective. But folks, honestly, if you have not seen Sleepy Hollow or you haven't watched it in a while, I recommend during this week you take some time, you sit down, even if you do it on Halloween night while you're getting up to answer the door for trick or treaters if you have trick or treaters in your area. But this is a great film to watch any time of year, honestly. So, but that all being said, folks, I hope you enjoyed this review. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I've really missed it. I will bring you two more of these or anything later today. Obviously, I'll be covering John Carpenter's The Fog and Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein. So, until I see you all next time, happy Halloween. And this is the Ambassador, signing off.